Hello, my beautiful buds. Welcome back to my channel, Sprouts with Joy. My name is Joy, and if you like to talk about plants, you're in the right place. All right, you guys, my plan tonight is to just walk around my entire collection and get done as many plant chores as I possibly can in terms of time, energy, and supplies. We'll see how much I can get done tonight, but that's literally gonna be the video. So jump on board with your own plant chores, do whatever you want, fold laundry, I don't know. But we're just gonna hang out tonight. These are honestly mostly plant things that I've been putting off.
You know, it's just sometimes a lot to take out all the supplies and all, take the time to do it, especially if it's like a really small plant chore, if that makes sense. But then if you are ignoring it over a long period of time, like I've been, it can kind of add up and then become a problem.
So let's do that. Okay, first, I guess we're gonna start over here in this corner. Okay, first of all, what is up? This plant, I think, needs to be watered. It's very droopy. I swear it did not look this droopy earlier, but at least it has some new leaves, which is nice. But this is my Syngonium albo, and like it's been actually throwing out a lot of pure white leaves, which is
problematic.
And I'm not happy about that. There's at least like one vine of this plant that's going pretty strong, but the rest of it, I don't know, looks a little bit sad, but let me feel. Yeah, I think it just needs to be watered. So I guess I'll water that. I'll also water this plant tonight. It's my Monstera Peru, but the main problem I need to address is it is growing off of the pole, as you can see, and it has a runner. I have been just confounded as to what I want to do with this plant, but I'm thinking I might actually just pin it to the wall and let it continue growing, because in my experience, this plant does not propagate very reliably. But I'll probably, chop off the runner, maybe make a few wet sticks and see what happens. I don't know. I need to deal with this. I also need to deal with this plant. This is my Syngonium erythrophyllum, which I loved for a really long time when I initially got it, but right now it's not really doing it for me. It's been putting out a lot of runners too, so I feel like it probably wants to climb, or it wants more light. Probably one of the other things, but I'm just not entirely sure what to do with this plant. I'm probably gonna at least chop off the runners though and propagate those. And then over here, we also have more runner situations. There are 3 plants right next to each other that are overwhelming me every time I look at them. So yeah, this is my mystery plant. I think it's some sort of Monstera, but yeah, I don't actually know what it is. And then over here, okay, we'll see. Maybe I'll have time to repot this variegated Maranta Crutoviana, but I think that's what I'm gonna start with. So let's do that. So first of all, I'm gonna reattach it to this moss pole. I mean, this moss pole isn't really functioning as a proper moss pole. It's more just kind of support, but the roots aren't really digging into it or anything, so I don't bother moistening it. I'll chop it up right here. And then right here are the wet sticks. I'll just chop them up right now. So these are kind of my empty nodes. I'll just kind of throw these. Where's my container? This is gonna be my wet stick container for the evening, because I think I have a few. And then I do actually have some of these. These are like little, they're kind of like command strips. Oh. These are kind of like command strips, but like they're specifically for holding onto plants on the wall. So I'm just going to stick one of these onto the wall. Here, and you just kind of loop it, and ta-da. And hopefully, I guess, now that it has a little bit of support, it'll maybe grow a little bit nicer. I don't know. So that's what that kind of looks like. It's not, exceedingly exciting right now, but it's a lot better than what it was before, so I will take it. Now to deal with you, I feel like I'm also gonna make a trash pile over here. I feel like, actually, let me go sanitize these scissors. Yep. These look awful. I need a new pair, but similar story. I'm honestly just gonna cut off these runners. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut them off, cut them into little nodes and see what happens. Looks like it was trying to put out a lot of leaves, but they just were not doing it. So, And the responsible thing to do would be to like label all of these wet sticks and keep them separate. Honestly, I'm just proud of myself for mustering enough energy to do this. So you know? Oh, and I think these plants are different enough what they are as they grow and develop. So, you know, I might honestly even just grow them all in the same propagation container. You know, why not? Okay, and while we're here with this other syngonium that's suffering, I would like to give it a makeover, and I want to trim away any of these leaves that are honestly dying and worse for wear, just so it can put more energy into new growth. And like this white leaf right here, it's not doing anything, so it's not contributing to society. Let's put it this way, the society of the plant. It is a freeloader, and I'm just, they were pretty well lasted, but they're just starting to get droopy now. And I would rather just not. And like this leaf right here, I guess it still kind of is contributing with that green, but the white portion has just kind of melted away. This one certainly though, I mean, this one's starting to go off, so I'm just gonna put it out of its misery. A lot of these are pretty droopy, but I think I want to water it before I chop off any more leaves. But first, before I do that, I do want to add another piece of plant Velcro. God bless plant Velcro, man. I know you could use like twine or even tape, and honestly I might resort to tape potentially eventually with this, just because I feel like that would be possible and honestly might even look nicer in the long run. But I do appreciate that you can reuse plant Velcro really easily. I'm gonna go ahead and water this. Do not judge the state of my bathtub. As you can see, I have already watered some plants here today. This is kind of the perpetual state of my bathtub. I'll clean it, and then within a day, there's more plant matter in the tub. And, you know, I've just accepted that that is the way of life for a plant parent, as has my husband. I usually have been watering this Monstera Peru in place these days, but I'm just careful to not water it too much lest that saucer overflow. And now this one, oh man, I think I want to repot it actually and add it like on a plank or something. I also have some propagations of this plant, so I've been having a hard time deciding exactly what I want to do with it, but I know bare minimum I do want to just remove this portion of the plant that is just kind of like, look at that. So long. Okay, so let's just chop that up and just do the same thing that we have been doing. Don't mind the fact that this background is a mess, which by the way, I don't think I showed you guys. I added a grow light here. I need to trim these zip ties, so like don't mind that. I also have a couple other plants here normally, but I watered them today, so they are not present at the moment. But this is my Philodendron Splendid, which definitely going to need a water as well. And I need to add more moss. Before I do any more watering, actually, I think I want to fertilize all my plants. Normally I like to water my plants and kind of fertilize them in tandem.
However, I feel like I don't actually fertilize my plants often enough because it's such a hassle to like grab the fertilizer, and you know, if I'm watering a plant, it's usually kind of just on the go. You know, it's like, oh crap, that plant needs to be watered, so let me just grab it, stick it in the sink, give it a quick water. I don't have really the capacity or the wherewithal to just run down to the basement and grab fertilizer and do that whole thing. So
I think that it's most effective for me to just, here, let me show you my fertilizer. It was behind me this whole time. This is just an organic Tank's Green Stuff fertilizer, and it's just like a dirt, basically. It's a concentrate of, I think, just honestly poop and compost, but like in a powder, you know? And it's a slow release type fertilizer. It's organic, so it basically just kind of slowly incorporates itself in the soil. So I don't think it hurts to just plop a, what is this? Half a teaspoon. I know there are very specific measurements, but honestly, I don't have the brain power, so I'm just gonna roughly do like a quarter to a half teaspoon for most plants, and if it's a bigger plant, I'll do like a few scoops. I don't think it's gonna hurt the plant because this is so mild compared to a synthetic fertilizer. It's more like a shot of energy, so
Oh!
Do I have fertilizer on my face? I don't know. I just fertilized a bunch of plants, but like I don't feel like bringing my lighting setup to downstairs, so I'm just gonna focus on all the upstairs plants right now. And I'll fertilize the downstairs plants another time, I guess, or tomorrow. But
I'm looking at the jade pothos in this corner, and I'm realizing I need to add more of those like plant wall sticky pin things.
You see this mess? I am way behind on adding those, so I'm gonna do that really quickly. This poor plant right here gets so neglected. These leaves are so dusty, and I should clean them. And honestly, this video of all videos should be the video when I clean it, but like I have so many other things that I also want to get done, including like repotting a bunch of plants. So I'm like, I'm gonna need to get a chair for that one. This is looking quite scraggly up here. But we're gonna do it anyways. I need to add more water to this. Tragedy of a plant. My goodness. We're good. I changed my mind. This plant needs some love. So I'm not doing anything special. This is literally just water. I would normally just hose down a plant in, I don't know, the bathtub, but since this one doesn't really ever move, it tends to get pretty dusty in this corner. I would totally add a grow light above this plant, but there just isn't a plug nearby that would be an access point that would make sense. So unfortunately, this plant just has to kind of subsist on very low light, which kind of stinks, honestly. And it's very neglected, but good thing it's a plant that kind of thrives in spite of that, you know, kind of. There we go, that's mildly better. Dude, I have problems. I already feel kind of exhausted just from like doing those plant chores. Now I think we're gonna just settle down. I got all my supplies, I can relax. I would like to do some repotting and extend some moss poles, maybe make a moss pole. I don't know, we'll just kind of have to decide in the moment. So I don't have a lot of sphagnum moss, so I think I only have enough to kind of pretty much do 2 poles. I think the simplest thing to do, honestly, I could just do right here, right now. I'm gonna just add some more moss to my Philodendron Splendid. So just like this. We're starting with an easy task, okay. I mean, all of these are fun tasks, generally speaking, but behind the scenes, I'm like running up and down the stairs, trying to get things, and I'm just slightly out of breath from that. I definitely need to get more organized in my plant stuff, but it's a little bit hard to put everything back in the same place every time for some reason. I think that's a skill that I just need to get better at. I like things to be clean and tidy, but I feel like I'm not always the best at keeping things organized, if that makes sense, like having good systems. And I will certainly need to extend this moss pole kind of soon, but not right now. I kind of need to do an experimental extension before I jump in the weeds, I feel like. Plant Velcro. Please be long enough. I think I need to add just a little bit more. There we go. That one's nice and simple. And I will also water this plant later. I'm going to make holes in this clear sheet of plastic, and that's going to be for my moss pole. There we go. No! I zoned out for a second and just did not do that properly. So I'll just move down one, but don't zone out like I did. All right, we'll start with that. I think I want to try to extend this moss pole of my philodendron gigas because, as you can see, it's reaching the top of the pole, and I want to keep this beautiful upward trend in terms of the leaves sizing up. But this is actually my first time ever extending a moss pole, and so this is all experimentation and theory. First, I'm adding a zip tie to the top. I guess I'll add another zip tie in the middle because I feel like that helps. Once you're ready to remove the zip tie and add plant Velcro, it's kind of already conforms to this shape, if that makes sense, the plastic. And then down here, in theory, let's see if this works the way that I envisioned it would. Okay, it looks like I actually need to add hole punches farther down. So there are holes right here that are empty. I'm gonna remove this plant Velcro actually. I am trying to line up these holes right here. Not at all. It's gonna feed a zip tie through those holes. Okay, well, that kind of works. So let's see, that is actually quite stable. Not perfectly, but like stable enough. And it might have been smarter to try to repot this before extending the moss pole because I think it might need to be repotted as well. So before I add a bunch of moss, sorry, I feel like I'm all over the place. Before I add a bunch of moss to this situation, there are roots coming out the bottom, but that could also be because it's in a cash pile. So let me just take a peek. Oh, okay. All right, I mean, that's decently rooted right there. I feel like for the sake of stability, I may as well pot it up into a slightly bigger pot. I mean, I guess I could go with terracotta. Why not? I did enjoy using this cash hoe while it lasted, but I think it's already time to upgrade. If you're not happy, I will be sad because I really like this plant and I want it to be happy. Now that song from Wicked is stuck in my head. I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy too. Da 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 da. Dun, 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 to feed your own ambition. Do you guys like musicals at all? Do you know what I'm talking about? Because I really enjoy musicals. I did a lot of theater in high school actually, and I thought it would be really, really fun to get into like a community theater or something and get back into doing musicals just as a hobby. Realistically, I don't think that that's gonna happen for me anytime soon, just especially because of having children and being busy with other things in life. I mean, I'm busy enough, you know, but maybe someday I could see myself kind of getting back into that world. Yeah, Defying Gravity is currently just playing on repeat in my head now. now that I've brought it up. Wow, this is such a whole new look for this plant. I hope it still fits in its place in a cabinet, actually. I didn't really think that through, but okay, I'll add a little bit more moss so that I don't have to procrastinate doing that again, you know? Look at that. So fun. This actually worked really well, you guys. I'm really happy with that, actually. Should we do another moss pole right away? Maybe, because I have this philodendron verrucosum that I would like to add to a pole. But the question is, what pot do I use? I guess I could use another pot like this, or this black pot could look kind of sleek.
Let's hurry up and make another pole. So if you can't find me, look to the western sky. Everyone deserves a chance to fly.
I'm kind of bringing these farther in than I normally do. I will say this is my least favorite part of making these moss poles. I do want to take a moment to just thank you guys for still being here and showing up. Plant YouTube and houseplants in general, like this whole niche, had a huge boom, but now the discourse is the houseplant bubble has popped. A lot of people are downsizing their collections. A lot of people are just not interested in houseplants anymore. They've gone back to work. They don't really care. I still am really happy about my plants. And not to say there aren't going to be stages and phases with all of it. Let me just say, if you're watching this video, thank you. I appreciate it, and I'm happy that you also still like houseplants, because I don't know, that's just something that I've been sensing in the community, is that just a lot of people are kind of like walking away, if that makes sense. Which is, I mean, obviously, like, there's nothing wrong with that at all. You know, if you're not interested in a hobby anymore, that's literally, it's so okay. You know, you're always welcome to come back if you want to, in my opinion. No judgment, but like, if you're ready to step away from a hobby or move on or you're burnt out, like, I totally get that sentiment. But I am really appreciative that there's still people that are interested in what I'm interested in, if that makes sense. I've been thinking a lot about that recently. I think it's natural to want to have a community and have people interested in the things that you're interested in, if that makes any sense at all. So I guess that's the sadness that I have surrounding people moving on. But I guess the positive is that plants are going to be cheaper again. I say as I'm holding a philodendron verrucosum that I got for $17. But other than that, I mean, it will be a little bit sad to not have as many people seemingly interested in houseplants. But all that to say, yes, I am super grateful for the people that are still here and still interested.
Because again, it's natural to want to like have people in your community that like houseplants.
That's kind of part of the reason that I'm trying to get people around me to like houseplants. Number one, I think that they're super beneficial and wonderful and super fun. So of course, it's something that I enjoy, and I think other people might enjoy it. So I want to encourage people. I always want to encourage people to try houseplants out, even if it's, you know, everyone's capacity for the number of houseplants they're gonna have in their home is gonna be so different, and that's a very personal thing. But I'd love to see all my friends have at least a couple of houseplants and have that be a thing that we can bond over, and I just think that they're really fun. So I don't really know fully where I was going with that, but hopefully you guys understand what I mean. I don't know, let me know if you guys have sensed the same dynamic of fewer people being interested in the hobby, or if you yourself have been feeling burnt out, but you still like the plant content. I don't know, just let me know where you're at. I would love to hear kind of your thoughts on the topic. I feel like this plant is just a little bit wonky. It's gorgeous, but it's wonky. So I'm hoping that this moss pole situation will kind of help it be in order. And right now, I actually moved my Jose Buono, my philodendron Jose Buono, outside for the remainder of the summer just to see what happens with it. And I will probably stick this philodendron verrucosum in the cabinet, kind of where my Jose Buono used to be, at least for now, because I think that it would benefit from that and maybe give it a little bit of a boost. The other thing Oh gosh, okay, there was a massive storm in my area for 2 nights in a row. Just crazy storm, tons of wind. And it actually like knocked down some of my plants that were on the front porch, and like I had a few pots shatter. There's soil everywhere. I really need to clean it up still actually. But I decided to let go of a few plants that had kind of, you know, they were a little bit worse for wear. I kind of stuck them outside as a last ditch effort. So yeah, it's okay though. I'm not like, I wasn't horribly attached to them. One of them was a Monstera adansonii, which I still have a Monstera adansonii inside. So, you know, I'm not like concerned about losing the plant or anything like that. Yeah, that one wasn't doing so well, but the pot broke and I'm just like, you know what? I just don't have the energy to try to rehab this and repot it. I'm just gonna toss it. Again, it honestly was kind of on its way out anyways, and that was just an excuse to say goodbye all the way. Hopefully that works. There is a new leaf coming in, which is kind of fun. And hopefully I potted that up the correct way, but if not, I'm hoping that it just adapts. This is also going to need a pole extension sooner rather than later, but we'll see how it does first before I try anything else with it. And what am I gonna do with you? Okay, this is my mystery Monstera, and I actually have taken a lot of propagations of this plant as I have been putting off dealing with it, to be honest. It definitely really wants support, so I think I want to put it on some sort of a plank and see what happens. I repotted this plant not that long ago, but I'm just curious to see what the root system is like, so let's just dig in, I guess. Okay, come on. Okay, all right. I mean, it's reasonably well rooted, and I think I am going to go get those propagations, so I'll be right back. Okay, here these are. Yeah, that's also quite rooted. My husband and I did go out for a date today, which was really fun, and actually the kids are with their grandma tonight, which is also really nice. I think that's enough. We're just gonna stick these in here too and see how they do. I feel like I'm kind of doing this a little bit haphazardly. I'm kind of rushing because I would like to get to bed at a reasonable hour tonight, but since I have the opportunity to do so many plant chores, I also want to do plant chores. See, when you pot in propagations, it just gets so messy sometimes. And I obviously want all of these to have a chance to like climb up the plank. I don't know. Or maybe I'll just let some trail out. But the leaves definitely size down when they're not climbing. And then these guys can climb up, maybe. But let's just start pouring in some soil and see what happens. I will say the last time I tried to attach a plant to a plank like this, I think it was my Syngonium albo, which as you saw, I feel like it's not doing that great. So I don't know, wish me luck you guys. How does that look? Is that okay? Be honest, I don't know. Suppose this could go in here, right? This will be an easy one. Although I feel like it's already getting so gangly because I've kind of neglected it for the past few months. This is just my variegated Maranta. And yeah, that's fine, it's fine. I'm going to remove some of these like lower leaves maybe, gently. There's some leaves that died off and just look kind of ugly down here. So I'm just gonna pot it in a little bit deeper and see if I can cover up the more barren stems, and maybe those empty nodes will also develop some root. Alrighty. Well, there we go. That was a nice and easy one. It's a little bit floppy. I should probably like prune it or propagate it at some point soon. Okay, very quickly, I'm running out of time, but I desperately need to repot these anthuriums. Look at these roots, dude. It's absolutely insane. I am gonna trim off this leaf. I don't think that I have a pot for this Anthurium Dark Forgetii because I don't want to use terracotta for an Anthurium. I just feel like that's not the best idea, at least not for me personally. And it also has an inflow, so I also don't really want to repot it then either. So this will have to wait, even though, as you can see, it desperately needs it. But this right here, I think I can repot into this little plastic pot right here. As you can see, it's quite well rooted in the moss. So I'm just gonna slip it out and I'm gonna remove most of the moss potentially. Hi kitty cat, what's up? I mean, these Anthuriums have actually been quite impressively happy in the moss and in these like glass vessels. So one of these days I think I would enjoy experimenting with like actually potting up an Anthurium in a glass vessel with no drainage and just see what happens. But today is not that day. I feel like I haven't totally nailed the Anthurium care all the way. Like I'm feeling more and more confident in it, but I'm still relatively new to Anthurium. So I will say they are a lot easier than I expected them to be. And they're actually kind of more straightforward than philodendron because, you know, you don't have the question of liming and the whole moss pole situation. I don't know. Also, the roots are so nice and tough with Anthurium, which makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. Okay, well, that is a massive piece of bark. So that'll be good for now, I think. But now I need to water all of these plants that I've potted up. All right, well, I think that's gonna be it for this video. So yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye-bye.